first of the year, our ordinance changed from the distance that you have to be from a building, and that building can include a house, a place of gathering, a church, a business. Also includes domestic livestock that's not your own. So it makes it a little bit more restrictive of where you can be from an area to shoot. Also, we always know that there's no shooting on, or no target shooting on game lands or inside the city limits. So if you are going to go in an area to shoot that's met the requirements from the structures and you have a positive place for the rounds to stop in, make sure that you are in an area that you're not trespassing, or it's an area that you have permission to be on. That's one of the complaints we get, that sometimes when people go into a woods and they think it's an unoccupied area and it's actually somebody's land. Always need to have a positive place to, or an area to stop the rounds and bullets. If you are shooting inside the county area, that you have an area where the bullets will stop in, and that you can get more information from the National Rifle Association on their website. It gives you more information what the criteria for a positive berm is. And it's always important to remember the four cardinal rules of gun safety. Treat every weapon as if it's loaded. Never point a weapon at anybody that you don't intend to shoot. Keep your finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot. And always know what lies in front and behind your target. They can always call the sheriff's office, our number, the 560-0900 number, and report it. Again, the deputy will come out there and investigate to see if they're following the ordinance. A lot of times, by the time we get there, the shots have stopped, or sometimes if it's in the woods, it's maybe hard to locate. We can always speak to the residents, try to get more information, and at least do a follow-up on it. It's always recommended that you, if you are going to shoot firearms, that before you buy a firearm, to have some type of training is always important. And you can usually get that from the place that you buy. There's classes that you can take, but it's always important, again, to always treat our weapons as if they are loaded, and just treat them with respect, and have a safe area to practice and train in.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Mandy Cohen, Secretary of the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. As we begin to venture out again, help protect your family and neighbors from COVID-19 by practicing your 3 W's. Wear a cloth face covering, wait 6 feet apart, wash your hands often, or use hand sanitizer. Wear, wait, wash. We're all in this together. Stay strong, North Carolina.
As the nation's doctor, I often get asked, what should I do if I think I might have coronavirus?
People who are sick should stay home. You don't go to an emergency room, you don't go to a clinic. You get on the phone and you ask for advice and instructions from your physician.
We don't want you to go into the ER or the doctor's office without talking to them first, because you might spread coronavirus to someone else. Please visit coronavirus.gov for more information.
The writ of possession is at the very end. All of this starts with, one, in the case of rent not being paid, the rent isn't paid. There's some communications going between the landlord and the tenant about, hey, where's my rent? And then you get this notice to vacate, and then once you don't vacate, the landlord can go and file a summary ejectment proceeding, which is another way of saying filing a court case against you, saying you owe me this money, you have not paid your rent, I want you evicted out of my property. And usually that's going to be in small claims court before a magistrate.
Well, your rent notice is basically a magistrate summons with a complaint and summary ejectment attached to it. That comes from the clerk's office to the sheriff's office, and what that is basically the notification for the hearing for the landlord to start the procedure to get their property back. We'll receive those from the clerk's office. The deputies will take those, and they will attempt to make contact with the defendant or defendants that's listed on the magistrate summons. If we can't make contact, we will post, as statute allows, for the court date. And once that is returned, they have been served for their court date. Once we've served it, they'll have to call the court if they don't understand something about it. That would fall more under calling the clerk's office to find out if there's any discrepancy about the court date, or if there's any problem that they may have with the court date. They would need to contact the clerk's office, because we're actually just serving notice of the court date.
That's the first part where we're involved. Only thing we're doing is serving the paperwork, just like any other lawsuit. Then you go before the magistrate, landlord presents evidence, you can present evidence, or the renter can present evidence, a decision is entered. You have a right to appeal that decision to the district court. If you appeal it, there's some procedures involved with that. And then if you lose that appeal, or if you don't appeal it or contest it, what you're going to have is a judgment being entered against you. And that's when the writ of possession comes involved.
Once the sheriff's office receives the writ of possession for real property, the first thing that's done is a notification will be sent out of the date of the eviction to the defendant or the defendants. Second thing we do is we're going to notify the plaintiff of the date and time that we'll be out there to facilitate the padlock. Once the deputy arrives on scene, the property will be taken from the defendant, turned over to the plaintiff. The defendant will be served the paperwork if they're there, but we're there to take custody of the property from the defendant and turn it back over to the plaintiff as the court has ordered.
Really, the legal process is the entire court case before writ of possession is requested by a landlord and delivered to the sheriff for execution. Writ of possession is basically carrying out the judgment of a court. Just like if you were sued for a motor vehicle accident or some other small claims proceeding, when the judge enters a decision, it becomes a judgment, and then you go collect on the judgment. And then once it is issued by the clerk of court, it's delivered to the sheriff for execution. The reason why the sheriff's office is involved is because when someone is moved out of their property, it's a very tense situation, and the sheriff is involved to make sure that it's a peaceful transfer of property.
As in all civil process, the sheriff's office is just enforcing the court order. The court order is that the plaintiff is to receive their property back. The deputy will go out there, the property will be taken out of the defendant's possession, placed back with the plaintiff as the court has ordered, and we're there to also make sure that that's a peaceful transition during that process.
But the law requires the sheriff to do this, and in fact, if the sheriff doesn't do it, he could be sued. So you should really take some steps right at the beginning of all of this when you first have difficulty with paying your rent. Because when it gets to the sheriff's office, it's too late. So what can you do? In several communities throughout the state of North Carolina, including Durham, there are rent assistance programs. North Carolina, along with the United Way, has developed what's called NC 211. If you pick up the phone and dial 211, you're connected to a resource hotline, and you can tell them what your problems are, whether it's paying rent, paying your mortgage, making utility payments, need of food, and they can connect you with resources in your community. Here in Durham, you have the legal clinic at North Carolina Central. You may also have law clinics over at UNC, Duke, over in Raleigh at Campbell, where you can get some free legal advice. You have Legal Aid of North Carolina, but if you go to their website, they have literature on there on what the eviction process is, what is a summary ejectment, what you should present to court. Can you get out of it? Can you pay your rent? Can you settle this? What to do if you want to get into a settlement. Here at the Sheriff's Office, we know about the process, but we can't give you legal advice. State government is well aware of the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on individuals, and so there's some relief efforts being made. And so really what I'm saying is that the solution to a lot of this is before you get to the writ of possession. There are community organizations out there that will help you with rent assistance. The General Assembly, which is our state legislature, is looking at some solutions. Our local officials may be looking at some solutions. Churches may be available. So when you get into that situation of not being able to pay your rent, making utility payments, not being able to put food on your table, oftentimes we panic, we become concerned, and that is the moment where you don't close yourself in. That's when you need to go ahead and ask for the help that may be out there. Because if you act quickly and at the beginning of the process, you won't get into the court system and you wind up staying in your home. Because by the time it gets to the sheriff's office with the writ of possession, there's not much, if anything, that can be done, and our hands are tied.
Of course, you're seeing a lot of jury frauds, or you have warrants outstanding, you didn't show up for court. We will never ask for money. We'll never call you, ask for money. The government, whether it be us, the federal government, any state entity, we will not ask you to buy Green Dot cards or any other gift cards to pay off anything. We have no use for those types of things. Always say, you know what, let me call the agency. Google up the agency's number and call them and ask them, hey, is this a true deputy? I got a call from such and such. If that agency knows that someone's using a deputy's name, then we can start trying to track that stuff down. Also, we can report it, or you can report it to the Attorney General's office. They're keeping a long list of phone numbers and names and stuff like that that are getting used, and trying to look through that and actually research that.
Durham County Sheriff's Office, where's your emergency? Okay, we'll get deputies on the way. Order! Move!
How y'all doing this morning? Come on through.
I'm Durham County Sheriff Clarence Burkhead, and we want you to join our team. Honor, duty, service. If you have what it takes, our recruiting starts now.
Being prepared is a part of who you are, but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90-mile-per-hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
To keep things from being stolen from your vehicle, don't leave them in your vehicle. Simple, easy preventive measures. Don't leave your items overnight, during the day, 5-10 minutes. Take them in the house, take them in the building, into your office. Just make sure they're secure somewhere else besides your vehicle. If you have to leave something in your car, secure it in your trunk. It's less likely to be seen through a window. If you can't secure it in your trunk, most people have a locking glove box. Put it inside of your glove box that locks, or your center console. Not all of them locked, but at least it's not out in the open, visible, where anyone can walk by and see it. They're looking for easy grabs, book bags, purses. For some reason, people leave laptops, MP3s. They look for weapons. They know people leave weapons in the car. So if you have to leave a weapon in your car, they make boxes where you can securely lock your weapon in the vehicle, unseen. You can always call the police, reference suspicious activity or suspicious person. Do not approach them yourselves. You never know if they're armed or what their intentions may be. Before you go through it, call the police first. Hopefully they're able to get fingerprints off of it, but call the police before you go through your vehicle. If it appears that they've gotten in, 9 times out of 10, they probably did get in and just didn't see anything worth taking. A lot of heavy equipment, especially for construction, is kind of hard to take in and out. If you can secure it down, get lock boxes. A lot of trucks offer toolboxes, lock boxes. If it's big items, get chains. Find ways to secure it down with chains. If you can and you're not able to, then one of the best things you can do is make sure that you have these serial numbers so that if they do get stolen, they can be located if they're pawned or stolen or sold to someone else. Put it up, put it away, keep it out of the public's eye.
You told me not to talk to strangers. You told me not to cross the street without looking both ways.
You told me not to touch the stove.
You told me not to do drugs.
You told me not to drink and drive.
You gave me so many messages about how to stay safe. Why didn't you keep me safe by properly storing your gun?
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we've had a lot of uptick on the Publishers Clearinghouse, especially with our older community, getting these calls saying, hey, listen, we've got your Publishers Clearinghouse prize. We just need you to send in money. So people are taking money, you know, some of them which are on restricted budgets, and they're sending these checks, and whether it be cashier's checks or some sort of certified check to out of state, wherever, and they're hoping that they're getting these prizes. Unfortunately, what we're end up coming into is that they're continuously getting called and they keep sending out money, and they're not getting any of these prizes. It's all a scam. Most people can look up your information online and they can start figuring out, hey, this person is a little older. Let's try this and see if we can scam them. So we're seeing a lot of that. Also, eBay, buying vehicles on eBay. Be wary if somebody says, hey, listen, you'll have to pay for this with eBay gift cards, or you'll have to go get cards, some sort of gift card to pay for it, and then you'll have another payment to make for the actual shipping. And then the email addresses that they're using have eBay and then add some sort of service or shipping kind of back end of it. So you might want to be cautious of that. That's not how eBay operates. You'll actually pay through eBay, and eBay is the one that secures it. So they have their own pay system, and you go through them. That way they can verify the seller as well. So all these people that are getting taken for vehicle sales through eBay, they're not actual vehicles for sale. If it looks too good for a deal, it is too good for the deal. It's probably going to be fake. So just be cautious with that. Those are the two major things that we're seeing as far as frauds. Also, just be safe with your credit cards. Check places before you start using them. Make sure that they don't have card readers attached. If something looks a little weird, especially at a gas pump, go to a different gas pump. You know, we found a couple of those running around here in Durham as well. So just be cautious as to what you do in your surroundings. And if you have any questions, please just give us a call at the sheriff's office. Thanks so much.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right, because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign, not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.